Hello there. What Andrew Bridgen told Dr John Campbell this morning should have everyone seething with anger. Andrew Bridgen MP was a guest on the Dr John Campbell YouTube channel this morning, and in his normal straightforward no-nonsense manner he laid bare what is in effect a parliamentary groupthink. When we hold elections, we think we're putting people into Westminster who will work for the people who pay them, us. And those elected members come from a wide range of backgrounds and political persuasions. So, how come on the most important matter of the day, the harm being done to people after they did their duty, how come the whole lot of them are in lockstep? Bar the odd independent thinker like Andrew Bridgen. And the MP for North West Leicestershire does have a related science degree. And instead of engaging with him, all those other MPs with no science background cancel him out of his party and out of debates. Instead of debating on the facts, we have the likes of the Leader of the House, Penny Mordaunt, throwing verbal barbs from her ministerial position. Now, one of the things Bridgen told Dr Campbell was that other MPs have told him they don't like it when he brings this subject up in Parliament because of all the emails their constituents send them afterwards. The idea of politicians, Bridgen said, was to serve the people and help them overcome problems. But now all the political classes do is blame the people for everything, he said, and try to push their ideas in top-down style onto the people, whether the people like it or not. And Dr Campbell pointed out that when all those MPs childishly walked out of the chamber when Bridgen stood up to make his speech, it diminished Parliament across the world. Our elected MPs are too scared of real debate. For them, on issues such as this and those like net zero, there is only groupthink. The political groupthink is settled. They will not debate or acknowledge any dissenting view, and nothing will shift them, bar kicking the lot out at the next available opportunity. Now, before I get into your carless future, Richard.
Matt Hancock gets an awful lot of flack by these anti-whatchamacallits. He has every right to mock them on TikTok and to call out MPs such as Andrew Bridgen, who studied genetics and biology for his degree. Yes, you can call him out for his evidence-based views, can't you, Mr. Hancock? Yes, Mr. Hancock, whose degrees are not in the sciences and is of impeccable reputation, says that this man says that these things that Mr. Bridgen thinks are dangerous are actually safe. Oh, well, they must be safe then. How utterly unfair are these anti-thingy-jigs. Don't they have any respect for our former health secretary? Matt Hancock is a man of his word who lives by the rules he lays for others. Oh, wait. Well, at least he isn't a compromised politician under investigation for sleaze, and who is associated in any way with external, unelected bodies like the World Economic Forum. Oh. OK, well, at least he doesn't want to hand over sovereignty of our ability to respond to health emergencies to some sort of global health organisation. Oh, no. Oh, OK. Well, at least the people love him, because he is a genuine, likeable chap who is relatable to everybody, who doesn't want to shut down scientific debate that goes against the official narrative. A narrative that is moulded by Big Pharma, I hasten to add. Oh, wait. OK. Matt Hancock, I have this to say to you. For some of us, this is personal. Many of us lost loved ones during the health emergency for numerous reasons, yet could not say goodbye to them because of the rules you put in place. A close member of my own family died alone from the thing I can't remember the name of. Yet his wife, who had nursed him for many years, was not allowed to be at his side. Yet you and people like you, like Neil Ferguson, you were all Well, we know what you were doing. Number 10 was in a permanent state of party, not caring about social distancing for some reason. Why didn't they care? They had all this information at their fingertips. Yet a devoted wife could not hold the hand of her husband, her lifelong husband, as his life came to an end. For the greater good, of course, put into place by people such as yourself. Yes, children also didn't take their last breaths with their parents around them because you deemed it necessary for them to be separated. As of writing this monologue this morning, I am informed of a fit young man who is in his 40s, who lives quite close to where I am at the moment, and he's now fighting for his life after a heart attack. And yesterday I was informed of a lifelong friend who was probably one of the fittest men I've ever known, who left us after a short illness, a very mysterious and short illness. But you carry on mocking people on TikTok, Mr. Hancock, because you're oh so funny and oh so credible. Thank goodness you're a man of honour and influence, Mr. Hancock. Yes, thank goodness. Jeff.
So Labour councils are intent on driving cars off the road, pun intended. And it's not just petrol and diesel cars that are in their sights, oh no. It's being reported that Southwark Borough Council in London has raised the cost of a residential permit for high-polluting cars from £256 a year to £300. But a permit for ULEZ compliant vehicles has also gone up from £133 a year to £225. And before April the 1st, it cost £32 a year to park your electric vehicle outside your house. And that's gone up to £150. Now tell me these fees are all about climate change and net zero. Well, they're not. It's a tax grab. The Telegraph reports that one resident questioned all this and got the reply, "The parking fees and charges have been set to encourage a reduction in overall vehicle numbers and a reduction in polluting vehicles." A reduction in overall vehicle numbers. And that is the crux of the whole net zero war on motorists. Cars for the powerful only. And when the rest of us are out of our cars, there will then be another tax grab, possibly on your bicycles. And the report goes on to say that Councillor Catherine Rose said that cars took up curbside space that could be used for other things. Well, if you're going to fill curbsides up with other things, where will the ambulances, doctors, police cars and fire engines park when attending call-outs? And it's not just Southwark. Islington, for example, upped their permit cost for the biggest polluters from £588 a year to £700. But the cost for the least polluting cars was trebled from £33 to a nice round tonne. So we can see exactly where the Labour Party is on this whole issue. Voter beware. Now, the government has come under pressure to scrap the ban on the sale of new petrol and diesel cars by 2030. But before I get onto that, Richard.
The debate about striking nurses continues in the courts, but nurses need more money to survive within this false society and to function properly within their roles. But we all need more money to survive and function within this society. Why as a society do we value one part of our workforce over another when we are structured to full interdependency? Look, don't get me wrong, I was once married to a nurse, and the less said about that the better. And my fiancée was a nurse, so I have deep respect for what they do and their contribution to society and the sacrifices they make in an incredibly stressful working environment. But I have also seen those working in the building trade ground down after years of toil on their physical bodies, retire into abject poverty with no public sector pension to support them at the end. And What are those who spend their lives in 9-to-5 soul-destroying clerical jobs, then only to retire with pensions that barely cover the cost of their retirement? Society and the state is there to keep you down and not to build you up and elevate you in status or wealth, unless, of course, you're willing to kiss the hindquarters of the great and good and join certain clubs. Socialism isn't the answer, nor is any other expression of the large state. So stop voting for it. It's all we've ever known is big state. Jeff.
The Times reports that MPs, economists and motoring interest groups are urging the government to scrap its 2030 ban on the sale of new petrol and diesel cars. Basically because the people are now too poor to buy them and there are no charging points anyway. No Sherlock. But there are a couple of problems with doing this. Firstly, a government in hock to the likes of the WEF are very unlikely to row back on those global plans. And secondly, there's the matter of the Brexit agreement, something I've talked about before. Our government squeezed as many net zero plots and plans into law as they could before the end of the Brexit transition period. And under Article 391 of the Trade and Cooperation Agreement, any environmental levels of protection and climate levels of protection that were in place in the UK and the EU by the end of the transition period cannot now be changed, if it would affect the trade or investment of the other side. And of course the other side would claim that it did. And we declared all our net zero stuff before the end of the transition period, so it's locked in. The EU did it afterwards. So if we do try to change the 2030 deadline, you can bet your socks that there will be screeches of breaking international law, etc. And we might be forced to negotiate with the EU if we want to change these rules. Wonder what Rishi would give away in the process. And maybe that has something to do with why we're not putting all those old EU laws on the bonfire of red tape quite yet. Anyway, I think I'll leave the final word to the all-seeing eye.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's nearly time for you to sit down to your plant-based evening meal and drink your tea with soy milk and aspartame sweetener with your family as they each separately gaze at their iPhone with their earpods in. Yes, nothing like spending quality time with a family. Anyway, what do you lot think about what was said today in the video? Leave your pearls of wisdom in the comments section below, and we will see you again tomorrow at 5:45. 5:45.